Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Grant Kondo, a piano teacher, and today we're going to be looking at Celebration Series, 6th edition from the Royal Conservatory, just released in 2022. And today we're going to be sight reading and looking at the Prep B level. This is the second level in the series, and the reason I'm going to sight read it for you today is so you can see things that unexpected things that you never know, and so you'll be able to see kind of where the pitfalls are. And also I'll just give you my first impressions of the pieces, some good teaching moments, teaching materials, and just some great qualities, and perhaps we'll find some gems in here. Okay, so we're gonna just dive right into it. I'm also going to be sight reading these names and names of pieces and composers. So if I butcher some of them, I'm terribly sorry, and you can correct me in the comments. But we're going to dive right into it. This is the Calico Cat, which is, I believe, a multicolored cat by Helen Marley. Lively. Okay, so that's a fun one. A lot of 5-finger. Very reminiscent of sort of the Bergmüller arabesque. But anyway, gets you moving all along the keyboard, and similar to where you want to lift off the last note of each set of 5 notes as well. And anyway, this also takes you through a nice melodic B section from measure 9. So great piece. A lot crammed into one page here. Okay, next. A Gorilla Named Chi by Dennis Alexander. And this one is in bass clef, both hands. Also with some lyrics. I'll try to read/sing through these lyrics, and maybe we will find out a little hint of why or who is this gorilla. Why is this gorilla named Chi? I'm going to play it ponderously. A friend who big gorilla, happy as can be. And if you ask, what's your name, he'll gladly say, I'm Chi. He's big and strong and mostly fearless, is very true. But if we say 2 mice or 3, he'll scream and cry and run right back to me. I love my Chi. All right, so I guess if Chi sees 2 mice or 3, he'll scream and cry and run right back to me. So anyway, this piece explores a lot of a range going down to the very bottom, lowest group of 3 black keys. And so this piece definitely gets you moving around the whole keyboard. Next, we're going to be playing the Sneaky Tiger by Kevin Costley. Also instructs to play very sneakily. We're going to play both hands 1 octave lower than written throughout. So not here, but here. All right. Here we go. right, so that's a fun piece that, you know, if this were written in regular notation, it might be, we would just see both bass clef in both hands perhaps, but you know, this can this can make it easier to read by just instead using treble and bass clef and instructing performers to play both hands 1 octave lower. Although for some others it may be confusing, because you might see a treble clef and go, okay, I should be around here, and realize, oh, we're still 1 octave lower. So I know that was a little confusing for me. And anyway, kind of this piece builds up, right, from single notes to chords in the right hand and a nice contrasting B section. So there's a lot of things to be discussed in this piece. All right, next we're going to move on to Menuetto in C major, Opus 37, Lesson 2 by James Hook. I won't be playing any of the double bar repeats in this book, and you also don't need to if you're playing for the examination. But anyway, so this is a polyphonic style piece where you have melodies in both hands, melodic lines in both hands, and also you can explore with articulation, explore with your teacher on perhaps playing some detached notes. You could play it all legato, but it gives a little more style. If you kind of mix a little bit of detached notes in the articulation. So that's a fun piece for sure. Next, we're going to go to Minuet in F major, attributed to Leopold Mozart. So attributed meaning we're not exactly sure who wrote it, but we think that it's Leopold Mozart. So this one is Andantino. So this piece also in minuet is dance, and so measure 9 and 10 and 11 12 are identical, and you can think about maybe you want to play the first one louder and the second one softer, or some way to contrast those. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward piece. That part at measure 9 through 12 is also tricky with the finger work. So that's also good technical exercise in 4 measures. Okay, next we're going to look at The Rising Sun, and by Nancy Telfer. And of course the first thing that's you might look at is the key signature, 5 flats. You go, oh my goodness, what is this? What that really means is we're just going to be playing in all black keys. So here we go, slowly, and hold the damper pedal throughout. Okay, in this piece, not written, but I decided to put a little ritardando at the end. So of course this piece is also kind of rising in two ways. It's going higher up on the piano and also crescendo. So it starts out piano and then mezzo piano, measure 11, crescendo, measure 18 to forte at the very end. So, so that's yeah, a great way to show students that, hey, playing 5 flats isn't that scary. No big deal, right? Okay, next we're going to move on to Starfish at Night by Anne Crosby Godet. And we're going to play this mysteriously. Well, this is already mysterious to me because on the top it says whole tone scale. So that's where you have only whole steps between notes. So kind of gives you this otherworldly sound, often used to portray outer space pieces or underwater pieces. So perhaps we might see some of that. Also measure 3, black key glissando, and then there's an asterisk on the bottom that says glissando may continue as high on the keyboard as the performer wishes. Well, I'm going to go super high. And so glissando, if you're not aware, it's just you're going to glide your hand across. So when you're going up, we're going to use the right hand. If we're going down, we're going to use the left hand. Looks like this piece is only using the right hand. You don't want to press too hard. You could rip some skin off of your hands, off your fingers, which we don't want to do. So just very light, kind of angle your hand down and play a nice glissando. So let's see what this is like mysteriously. And here's the glissando. I'm going to start from C sharp. And again. One octave higher. Oops, sorry. Still treble clef. And we have the glissando again. So of course you can explore a lot of sounds with this one, and you know, I'm sure many people are going to get a kick out of playing glissando. So that's always really fun, playing glissando. All right, so yeah, it's kind of this like sparkling. Perhaps this is like the sparkling. This is the nighttime, the dark water, and you have this bright something. Maybe the stars shining or the starfish. Who knows? You can write in the comments what you think the glissando represents, if anything. Well, we're going to move from beautiful starfish to raptors. Oh boy, reminds me of Jurassic Park. It'll take you for a ride for sure. Okay, and I'll try to read the lyrics for this one as well. Forest, tiny creatures rule the night with their claws and sharp teeth shining, raptors in the pale moonlight. certainly this piece conveys the dangerous feel of raptors. All right. So this piece is effectively written in D minor, but looks like the composer decided to go with no key signature. And in this case, also because we're exploring a lot of other chromatic sounds, G sharps there and E flats. So anyway, a lot of different colors in this Raptors as well. Okay, moving on to more happier things than Raptors, perhaps. Oranges and Lemons, English folk song, arranged by Boris Berlin. So arranged means Boris Berlin created this particular version of this piece, which is originally an English folk song. So, Oranges and Lemons. So this one also goes through a lot of different octaves, and you can see if a couple of spots I started with the wrong fingering, and that kind of throws you off. So we have to be careful of playing with the right fingering to begin. I don't know if you noticed halfway through, this big cloud came over, and so it's suddenly a lot darker in this room. Not the effect I was thinking we would have with this piece, Oranges and Lemons. Anyway, also this piece goes through right-hand melody and left-hand melody, so it's a great practice for that as well. Next, we're going to move on to Pumpkin Boogie by Nancy and Randy Faber. I noticed this one on the bottom. It says, for examinations, observe the repeat. Okay. Oh, that's just because we're just repeating the first two measures. So here we go. Jiving along. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one's a great piece, and yeah, certainly. Yeah, just a lot of great harmonic color. Even if we're playing single notes, a lot of harmonic color is implied. So yeah, really, really great piece. Effectively in C minor, right? But we're just going to use accidentals to achieve that. All right. Next, we've reached the staple page. So we're halfway through. This is Boat of Tai Lake, Chinese folk song arranged by Emily Lin. Peacefully with pedal. Let's play that again. There's a small program note here on the bottom. It says this piece describes a scene in which a boat sails on Tai Lake, and I would encourage you to go and Google what Tai Lake looks like, especially near sunset. It says, at first there's a feeling of stillness evoked by a mountain and transparent water. Must be very, very beautiful. Then comes the wind, making the reflections on the lake, including the shadow of the moon, vibrate. All right. Also, this piece is a great piece to, if you have a student that's ready for it, talk about pedaling. Unlike some of the other pieces in this book and in the Prep A level, where they tell you to just hold the pedal down the entire way. This one, did we have one earlier in here? Yeah, like on the rising sun on page 10, hold damper pedal throughout. This one, it just says con pedale, and you actually don't want to hold the pedal the entire way because we have a lot of different harmonies that do not blend well together. For example, measure 29, if we played it just by holding the pedal down, and you can see through the damper camera, that doesn't sound very good when you mix everything together. And even when you're playing a single line melody, like the very beginning, it's actually, if your student's ready for it, there can be a lot of quite advanced discussion on pedaling. Of course, if you held it down the entire 4 measures, you could do that, but you could also, if you wanted to try a little bit of a cleaner sound, you can lift more often. And so you can just kind of discuss with your teacher and try some different combinations. Sometimes we want colors to mix and sometimes we don't. And to what extent, that's something that you will want to trust your ear and sort of put your own creative input into that. Okay, next we're going to The Thirsty Frog by Colleen Athparia. And as I said, as you know, I'm sight reading this and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this piece. Let's take a look. First of all, on the bottom it says play notes with up stems with the right hand and play notes with down stems with the left hand. Okay, so for an example, in the very beginning, also we're going to play 2 octaves lower. So not here, but here. Okay, we have also grace notes. Okay, and then we're going to play this piece thirstfully, since we have the thirsty frog. And in the beginning it says, once upon a time, there was a thirsty frog. Okay then, let's try it. A long rest. 2, 3. Oops. Now we're 1 octave lower. This kind of sounds like a croak. A chitteranda. 2, 3. All black keys. Yeah. Let me play that again. So we're just going down all the black keys. Yeah, and satisfied. All right, well, I guess the thirsty frog found the water at measure 9. So, very thirsty frog, measures 1 through 8, looking for something, and then satisfied. Anyway, yeah, this book certainly A lot of surprises in this book, currently, including this piece. Anyway, this is a great example of a piece that looks really, really scary. I mean, it looks really scary to me. But once you figure out what's actually happening, you know, like measure 9, we're just playing all the black keys, right? So. And so this is something that once you realize what it is, you don't need to, you're not reading every note, just kind of realizing what that pattern is. So that's that's a fun, certainly an interesting piece that you can have a lot of discussion with between teacher and student in that piece. Okay, next, swoop, peck, and fly. Perhaps some sort of bird, or at least a flying object. I mean, a flying animal. Who knows, maybe a flying object could also peck. Who knows? Anyway, lively. Oops, that's still treble clef. All right, and so you can see there, obvious pitfall right there at the end, still treble clef. And you could probably hear me whispering as I count, which means that I, didn't get the pecking. So this is so if you're playing this piece, I would recommend that you determine where the different phrases are, right? So this is perhaps the beginning is the swoop. This is a great piece to talk about rotation. And here's the peck. And another swoop. And pecks again. Also, when you have the peck, that's a great opportunity to to talk about phrasing. Don't just play 1, 2, 3, 4, but actually put some phrasing into it. Also, this uses kind of pentatonic ideas. Right. So, kind of contributes to that difference in the sound between that and this, which is a little different than this pentatonic sound. Okay, moving on to Sneaky Sam by Melody Bober. I'm going to play this mysteriously. What a great chord at the end there. Minor major 7, minor major 9. So that's a great chord. And of course, Melody Bober, she's written many great pieces for students. This is no exception. And this piece, I believe, and several of these pieces are from the fifth, I guess we can call it the 5th edition, or the 2015 edition of the Celebration series. So of course, I'm not necessarily purely sight reading all of these, but some of them for sure, like the Thirsty Frog, I certainly have never played before. But anyway, that's a really fun piece. Love it, Sneaky Sam. Okay, next, Carillon by David McIntyre. I'm going to play this ringing and with the pedal. All right, so this one, of course, focuses a lot on the tone and nice color, harmonies. And if you're gonna, you definitely want to pay attention and discuss with your teacher about how to hold the whole notes, especially measure 1, 7, 9, for example. And also something you don't see very often is the whole note with a staccato, measure 19, 20 in the last two measures. And really what the intended effect likely is, we're going to hold the pedal, but lift off the keys, and you're going to get this sort of lighter sound, this lift, rather than playing, rather than just holding it down. So even at fortissimo, kind of gives this really open sound. Also really good practice in getting your hands off the keys, which is not something that students are always comfortable doing. Okay, next we're going to be playing New Shoes by Linda Niemath. And of course, we're really happy for these new shoes. And of course, it doesn't say with pedal, but if you can manage, I would say it's a great piece to use some pedal. But anyway, playing left hand melody and kind of interjecting the right hand. So that's definitely a fun and certainly a happy piece. Okay. Next, we have Shadow Puppets by Edward Jiang. And we're going to play this one cut time playfully. Let's try it again, maybe a little bit slower. Alright, so this one has huge jumps. So the first 4 measures fine, and then, but measure 9, we're gonna go really big jumps. So as you saw, I got caught. You have to make sure that you're very careful about your tempo, and so that you can make those big jumps. Same thing with the last measure 13 to the end. So anyway, great, another great fun piece. Next, we're going to go on to Paswewe. I think that's how you pronounce it, and I'm going to guess that the translation of that means it echoes. Although it would be a great thing to look at, what does that mean, and where does this, perhaps what language does this come from? So, and this piece is by Barbara Asiginak. And this one I'm going to hold the damper pedal throughout. Bright. Okay, so this piece, at the end 20, it says wase. Hopefully that's the right pronunciation, but you can see, we're not using the traditional Italian, and so yeah, this is a great piece to look into, kind of what's the origins of this. Also, it follows this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is instead of the common waltz pattern, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And of course, we have a little bit of 4, 4 from measure 12, so that becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this really goes through a big dynamic range that if I were to practice this more, definitely would want to bring out more. There's pretty much a new dynamic in every measure, likely to convey the echoes of this piece. Okay, next we're going to move on to Looking Glass River by Nancy and Randy Faber. Right, so of course this is a great piece for practicing Alberti bass and scales. But I would also say this is a great piece to practice improv. So instead of playing Alberti bass, you could play blocked. In the middle section, we could also play it blocked. And when you play it blocked, you can really hear the harmonies clearly as well. So that's a lot of great technical skills in that one. Okay, we're coming up to the end here. Next is Leaping the Waves with Dolphins by Barbara Arends, and Smoothly with Elegant Leaps. With pedal, well, con pedale, but more specific directions with a fresh pedal for every measure. Okay. And there's a note on the bottom here that says, Play a leaping high note of your choice using the left hand. All right. Choose either C, E, G, or B flat. All right. Well, that's a hint of why those 4 notes, perhaps. So looks like that's going to be our leap. Well, we'll see what that sounds like when we get there. That's the first one. All right. Well, that's a fun one, and yeah, I don't know if not sure. All of it says you can play a leaping high note of your choice, yet there is a given pitch. Sometimes the first time it was G, the second time it's C, and the last time it was G. So I don't know if that's on. I'm guessing that's on purpose, because they could have just put the rhythmic notation with the X. But anyway, you can explore what those sound like using the different notes as options. Next, we're going to look at Roda by Oscar Lorenzo Fernandez, and that's another, definitely want to look at the definition of that. And this is Con Alegría. So this is a fun piece and interesting. It's 6/8 and it starts on the 5. 5, 6, 1. Da da dum, ba da dum. And also to hold those, make sure to hold those dotted quarter notes. Right. Also in this piece, you get to play some 4 notes at the same time. So that's certainly a fun challenge. Next, moving on to playing Opus 39, number 5 by Dmitri Kovalevsky. It's a great piece, all staccato, that kind of switches between both hands. Probably if you wanted to play it faster, you could. This is one of those pieces that could sound good at a medium tempo, or also slightly faster if you wanted to. Allegretto, maybe on the slower side, a little bit slower than Allegro, but there's a little bit of wiggle room. Whatever gives the best style can communicate the style the best for this piece. All right. Looks like we got another staccato-y piece here with Bouncing Ball by Teresa Richard or Teresa Reichert. Bouncing playfully. So this one's got a lot packed into it. We have a combination of white keys and black keys. Also different keys, time signatures, 5/8, 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Right, when we have 3 4. So when you count this piece, it's probably best if you count in eighth notes. And this does all 5/8, you know, can be 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. It starts out in 3 plus 2, 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, but in measure 9 it switches to 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. So a lot packed into this little piece here. Okay, last but not least, we have Steampunk by Diane Heidi. Play the right hand 1 octave higher than written on repeat. And it does say on the bottom, for examinations, observe the repeat. Okay, so we'll play it. Cut time and fast with precision. Wow. Okay, well, here we go. I realize I'm supposed to only do 1 octave the second time. So let's try that again. Repeat. Got a nice little G harmonic minor scale there at the end. Yeah, that's a fun piece, fast, lots of syncopations. A lot of attitude in this piece. All right, so that's the end of Prep B. What are some of your favorites? We'd love to hear in the comments. Did I play anything? Did I miss anything? Or would you play something differently? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, or if maybe you've already played this for an exam or you've performed it somewhere. Would love to hear it. So that's Prep B level. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.